Now, and ever since Florida banned advanced placement African studies courses last month, 4 more states are looking to do the same. And the controversy is highlighting not only what we're taught about African American history, but how.
Yeah, important work here. The 6-part documentary series based on the 1619 Project, currently streaming on Hulu, traces the erasure of African Americans from American history and shows the direct link it has to some of the issues that we are still dealing with more than 400 years later.
Our struggles and strivings have made America more fair and more just. And as much democracy as we have, it has been born of Black resistance. In other words, the very people who were never supposed to be a part of our democracy have played the most pivotal role in creating it. Discrimination.
So joining us this morning is Pulitzer Prize-winning author of the 1619 Project, Nicole Hannah-Jones. So welcome back to the Pix More News, Nicole. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
It's come a long way since our first conversation, right? And this is the fifth iteration of the 1619 Project, which obviously began as the series in the New York Times, which was a great read, followed by the podcast, and then 2 books. And now this amazing series. So impressive, by the way, to see the billboards around New York. So how does the series expand, I guess, on the original work that was in the New York Times?
Yes, thank you. It has been amazing to see all of the different ways that we can try to tell this story. So what the documentary series does is it presents many of the arguments in a visual form. And so you get to see, the episodes about democracy, about capitalism, about music, but you actually get to visualize them and meet new people that we didn't talk to in the book, to hear it, and to actually really get into the lives of Americans that are living today and how their lives are being shaped by this legacy of slavery that we haven't wanted to grapple honestly with as a country.
So in one of the episodes, though, you traveled to colonial Williamsburg in search for answers as to why African Americans are rarely included in these period reenactments when they were an integral part of the economy, of society. So what exactly did you uncover?
Yes, so of course we know that colonial Williamsburg tries to evoke this early Americana, this period when we are just becoming established as a nation. And yet a significant proportion of the people who lived there were enslaved, about 40%. But if you go there, you hardly see any Black people at all. And that's because it really is symbolic of how American mythology struggles with how do you grapple with a country founded on these majestic ideas of liberty, but where 1/5 of the population of the original colonies was enslaved. And the way that we largely do that is to kind of treat Black people as an asterisk, to acknowledge that they existed, but marginalize the role that slavery played in our nascent nation.
Yeah, and the series also links the current, what we're seeing in current society, Black maternal health crisis with the conditions that women faced during slavery. Important here because it's still happening today. So how do you connect the two?
Yes, absolutely. So we can look at a place like New York City, where, of course, we think of this as a very progressive, liberal city, and yet we have 3 times the infant and maternal mortality rate of Black women on average across the nation. We have some of the worst rates in the nation. And what it shows is that racism, that Black women not being taken seriously, that beliefs about Black women's pain, those ideas were really formed during the period of slavery, and they still continue in modern medicine. So we feature a Brooklynite, a Black woman who her husband is a sergeant in the police department. They have great health benefits. They are middle class, and yet she lost her baby while she was pregnant, one of her twins, because she didn't receive adequate health care.
Well, it's great, though, that you're bringing that to the surface, those issues. But you also talk about music, right? And it was and still is a lifeline for Black culture, Black artists. And you spoke to several living icons about the impact that it had. We're going to listen to what they had to say, and then we'll talk about it on the other side.
It was music that made us think on a different level. And to an artist, that kind of freedom, especially to an artist of color, that kind of freedom, like I say, you can't put the cork back in the bottle. Once that's unleashed upon the world, you can only go forward from there, regardless of how hard the gatekeepers try and stop you.
So, Nicole, why did you feel that it was so important to dedicate a whole episode to music?
Well, for a few reasons. One, So much of the documentary series is it's hard, right? It's painful history. It's the story of Black people having to resist against so many different forms of oppression. And yet, in all of that, we were living, we were loving, we had joy, we were creating. And so it was really important to also show the contributions we've made to culture, and that out of our circumstances, we created really the only original American forms of music that exist, including hip hop, which celebrates its 50th anniversary, and that was born right here in New York City.
You know, Nicole, I want to talk about this because the series is really coming at a time when some states are looking to exclude African American history from the AP curriculum, right? I'm sure you're well aware of this. Some say the series is actually responsible for the backlash, right? And going back to the first days of when the 1619 Project came out, there was backlash. And that was something you said you expected, but how do you respond to the ongoing arguments now that continue to happen, and especially this AP component?
Well, one, I think that what it's indicative of is that we have always been very uncomfortable with Black history. And that's because the only way you can explain Black people in this country is because of slavery, is because of the grave hypocrisy of our founding. And so our history has always been treated as political. But of course, what the series argues is that this is American history, and that you cannot truthfully understand America if you don't deal with the history of Black Americans and all of the effort to oppress Black Americans, beginning with the institution of slavery. So when we see these bans occurring all across the country, what we're really seeing is people who are afraid of us telling the truth about who we are as a country, that they feel that they have to diminish, delegitimize, or hide Black history in order to maintain these narratives about American greatness. I would disagree. I actually think the story of Black Americans is at its essence a story of hope, a story of people who out of nothing and through their resistance helped build this democracy, build the wealth of this country, and build the culture of this country. So we just have to see it in the right way.
Such important work that you've done and that I'm sure you will continue to do. And we so appreciate you sharing that with us here on the Pix 11 Morning News. Nicole Hannah-Jones, thanks again for being with us this morning.
Thank you.
And be sure to stream the 1619 Project on Hulu. Check it out.
All right, everybody, 8:42.